can you spot the problem with my clamshell? A couple of these here. Can you see what I'm doing wrong? Before I give you the answer, let's talk about why we should care in the first place. Clamshells tend to be one of the most recommended exercises in PT for runners that need some glute strength, at least as a starting point. I don't necessarily feel like it's because they're the best exercise ever for your glutes. I think it's because they allow us to, it's a simple exercise that allows us to really tune into movement compensations and creating that mind-muscle connection and making sure we're using the right muscles to move that we need to. This becomes even more so important postpartum. So let's go back to my clamshell. What I'm doing wrong. The first thing is you can see I'm moving, I'm doing these big open legs, I'm shifting back, my hips are not remaining stacked. That means I'm moving through my low back instead of just moving in an external rotation of the hip. The second thing is my core here. I'm just slumped into this position. I'm not turning on my core at all. So I recommend coming down and laying on your arm or on a pillow. Now first stack the hips, stack the knees, and then turn on the core. So inhale, fill the belly, fill the sides, fill the back, relax into the pelvic floor, nice deep inhale, and then on the exhale, engage the pelvic floor, engage those transverse abdominis. You should feel those abs get hard, the ones that kind of wrap around like a corset, and you should be able to stick your hand underneath here. So now that I have my starting position, my abs are engaged, I'm going to take another inhale, keeping some tension in the abs, breathing under brace, and then on the exhale, move into my clamshell, keeping my hips nice and stacked on each one. Inhale down, exhale, core stays engaged. Now you'll find that on this, I don't open as much. That's totally fine. That is the right posture and kind of range of motion, just getting into external rotation for a clamshell. But the next piece, and this is super important postpartum, especially for runners, is making sure that you're using the right muscle to execute the motion. These hip flexor muscles, the TFL, and our psoas actually, but let's talk about TFL for now. It's TFL tied in with your IT band, which should be super familiar to you as a runner. They tend to take over and become bullies when we lose our core and pelvic stabilization during pregnancy. This muscle is on overdrive. We need to reestablish good move mechanics, turn off this muscle so that we can really use the glute. Clamshells are supposed to strengthen the glute. So finding your good posture, again, inhale, fill the belly, sides, back, relax into the pelvic floor. Exhale, engage. We have our good starting position. Now I'm going to take my hand and find where that hip flexor muscle is, right kind of on the front to the side of that hip bone. So come down a little bit, out a little bit, just a finger, and then inhale, exhale, open that clamshell. You don't want this muscle to engage. You want this muscle to be working. It may take you a couple of tries to do it. When I first was postpartum with my most recent baby, it took me weeks of practice to really be able to do this. But once you can do that clamshell from good posture, using your glute and not that hip flexor here, you're gonna feel your glutes burn. This is where you wanna feel the burn, not here. Now, what does that mean for your running? One, it means you're gonna get way more out of this clamshell exercise if you're doing it to strengthen your glutes for stabilization in your running. The glutes, if you're not familiar with the kinetic chain anatomy, are really responsible for, the stability and that single leg stance that is running. It's really just a single leg hopping from one leg to the other exercise, and they're responsible for propelling you forward. You push off from the back leg using the glutes. So you need strong glutes to run, and you need your glutes to do the job, not your hip flexors. As a runner, you're probably super familiar with the idea that we tend to like foam roll the shit out of our TFL and our IT band, which is fine. It's good because we're trying to turn off, we're trying to relax, release this muscle so that we can use this muscle. But it's way more effective to do it in a way that, okay, first foam roll this muscle to release it, and then follow up with, for lasting change, follow up with the activation of the muscle you really want to be using. Little tweaks like this in simple exercises like the clamshell can make a huge impact on your running.